image, right? And then we can integrate. So that was his ask, plain and simple. So then we started breaking our heads, but it was, we were not able to make much progress. So that's when Jeff came in like a white knight, right? Yeah, somebody created an issue, and Jeff jumped on that thread on our GitHub and started working with us. And he actually did a lot of hand holding, giving us detailed instructions. If you look at that particular GitHub issue, it is so detailed, and he's so patient, and helping us go through um, uh, how to integrate, explaining what to do, even though he's actually not a JavaScript developer. But he actually spent the time, learned the different things, and then helped us eventually integrate. So BTCPay server and RTL integration, Jeff has a big role to play actually, and we will always be thankful for him to actually helping us guide through this.
No, that's the thing I've learned with Bitcoin ecosystem. There are so many people to help, great people. Yeah. And you just get lucky to meet them all. And I'm looking at the graph here. I see exactly what you're saying. See, Shahana. And this is like you are riding on coattails of Shahana. I'm riding on coattails of Nicholas.
Yeah.
But we are the one doing the stream. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, she is the real deal. Like as far as RTL work is concerned, she is the real deal. Keeps quiet, does the coding.
No, I'm actually hoping to break that silence, and we get Shahana on one of these streams. So, sure, but let's go beyond that intro and take a look at what you're busy with these days. You're not LARPing about price, right?
Not that much. Not that
because
much, yeah.
I couldn't stay away. I needed to retweet all the bullish videos. This one obviously, right?
Yeah.
This is one of the best videos. Let's play it for everyone on the stream. Let's see.
This one time, Bitcoin went from 6 cents all the way to 36 cents, and then it crashed down to 21 cents. And then another time, Bitcoin went from 85 cents all the way to $29, and then it crashed to $3. And then another time, Bitcoin went all the way to
these were good times.
$13.
Absolutely.
Yeah, these were good times.
These are golden times.
And then another time, Bitcoin went
but I'm fairly
all
new
the
to
way.
the space. Like I came in 2017. So if I was aware about Bitcoin at that time, it would have been like heaven sent opportunity. Unfortunately, I was too late.
Well, it's always too late, right?
Yeah, that's
always because it was here like when it crashed back to 200. I know people were like, "Whoa, yeah, that will never recover." Now, in hindsight, when you look at Bitcoin at 200, it's crazy. But yeah, I'm having fun with price. But this is my one of my favorites. Yeah, girlfriend's delayed. That's but yeah, people going in. But let's see you on the stream. Let's see what's going on. Let's see your Twitter feed. Oh yeah, like shitcoins.
This is the time for shitcoin,
Yeah, this is like okay. Oh, there we go. Because you saw the rug pull. That was one of my.
Yeah.
I scammed you guys. You can't do anything about it. Let's see. Oh. Yeah, this is what's actually happening.
Yeah.
We'll be so much safer in Bitcoin conference. Although, yeah, I know you have 0 Bitcoin. I also have 0 Bitcoin. So
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. With Ethereum, you saw Vitalik dumping?
Yeah. Actually, look at the tweet before that. This is the previous one. Heads think holding forever is stupid and you should sell to take the profit. So look at the tweet that I quoted. This guy is defending Vitalik. Right? He's saying he sold like 50 million worth of his 1 billion something. Big deal. Do you think you should just hold forever and not take profits? What the hell?
Yeah. I
These guys
mean,
don't know what they're in for here, right?
well, I've learned that it's all about people always make idols and heroes and all that stuff. And with Vitalik, it's so impressive, man. I mean, you've been in industry for so long, and it's so funny when that concept of like boy genius coder comes in, and then with Vitalik, it's like he can't even code that much. The whole Ethereum thing is what, like Gavin Wood.
Exactly. Yeah. This obsession with boy genius is actually unhealthy, right? They are just creating a marketing, phenomenon out of him, and the product that they are creating is poorly engineered. And I'm so bearish on it overall.
Well, you are bearish, but investors are bullish, so they need they need to keep pumping his stock because Ethereum, like when you see investor group around it, then it's so easy to understand what's going on. Like all those people have a bunch of money invested, so
they are there for getting the seniorage. They want control, and Ethereum is what gives it to them, right? It helps maintain the persona of decentralization while maintaining centralized control. Look at this tweet which I retweeted about from Ed van der Waalt. He's talking about proof of stake. That's actually a good one. He's saying that proof of stake doesn't sound like it represents the kind of world I'd like to live in, right? And before that, he actually is asking, the biggest holder of coins validate transactions and dictate network policy. So is that the kind of world that you want to live in? Right? It's basically the same world that we live in right now. But on blockchain.
That's what people are like. Proof of stake, when you have proof of stake, I don't know, all these people that are good at politics and getting ahead, they're just gonna accept that someone else is dictating the rules. Like no, of course not. They're just gonna hijack and run away with it.
That's one thing. Interesting thing is, look at the genesis of Ethereum. When they started out the network, they did this massive pre-mine, right? And if their objective was always to do proof of stake, they are actually planning ahead and ensuring that whatever network they create, they are going to have a big stake in it when the whole thing is going to switch to proof of stake. So they're already building a position towards that. And that position is of centralization and control. That's what they're doing. They created a pre-mine. Then they're saying, okay, now we are going to switch to proof of stake. And in proof of stake, whoever holds more token has control of block creation, network policy, etc. So is that is it the ethical thing to do? This is not the right thing. People should actually question this, understand these sequence of events and question this. Like what kind of design this whole thing is building towards, right? So that's why, having the proof of stake and then starting it with pre-mining itself, like that's very devious, right? And, and dishonest thing to do.
Well, I doubt majority of people see it that way. You need too much information to get to that viewpoint.
Yeah, exactly. That's the unfortunate thing to do.
Yeah, when you look at the whole energy FUD, it's definitely, it will move in that direction, right? Because you will have Ethereum switch to proof of stake, and then it will be like, oh, it's so much greener alternative toward compared to proof of work. Then they'll fight us. But luckily, I'm optimistic because we have good people on our side, and I'll just turn on some of the comments from our troll box just to say hi to everyone watching.
Sure, yeah.
This is Suheb, and we have. See, this is my streaming setup. So we have Zax, Eski, Umar. Hey, everyone. And we have Ronald. Hey, Ron. Ron is actually helping me with something with strikes. So good crew in here.
Cool.
So yeah, I mean, what will you and me do, Suheb? We'll just keep coding, man.
Yep, that's the best thing to do.
We'll just keep coding and hope we can save enough people from proof of stake. But I already know we won't be able to do it, man. People,
we have to keep fighting the good fight. That's all we can do.
Yeah. I really like that point in time where you agree that when you understand that some fight you will be doing is futile, but you fight it for the sake of it, because again, it's like the kind of world you want to live in. And for me, these streams are a realization of that. Like I was telling you, I have been spending previously, you know, maybe not always Sundays, but once a week I would organize a call with person I appreciate from Bitcoin, and then we would just talk. So now that's being streamed, and it's turning out well so far. But let's see what else you have on your tweet wall, and we can obviously need to give this, but when do you think this is happening?
When the
is
Bitcoin
it 12 months?
Was pumped, my guess was that it should happen within 2 years, but now I'm not a little unsure. You know, given that there's a little bit of price, going down. But again, my take is within maybe next 2 to 3 years, you will see some countries from G20 or OECD moving into recognizing that Bitcoin's store of value is good enough for us to holding it as part of our reserve assets. That's my take. That is the next big thing. And also, my understanding is that we are just, once it happens, like for a set of G20 countries or OECD, that is game over basically. At that point, an opportunity for a regular person to buy Bitcoin from market is over. After that, the countries will be in a massive race to accumulate Bitcoin as much as they can, and you only have opportunity until that time to buy Bitcoin. After that, it will be out of bounds basically.
So I'm going to start cutting out highlights, and then in 1 year I cut out, said Suheb told you all. Like, what? Why didn't you listen? But
yeah, look at that. This one. Yeah. I love these memes.
But isn't that one is really funny, right? With like how cursed we are to always look for, like I'm gonna figure it out. I won't buy Bitcoin. I'll just figure out the best, shit coin just coming
the
in.
Like coin. Exactly. The shit coin, which will be the next Bitcoin.
Yeah. Man, but it's such an awesome thing. Like it's such a pattern that you see with people.
I've been hating on Elon also quite a lot lately. But this was my last Elon hate.
No, but this is another thing why I like bringing people on the stream is because on Twitter, when text, everything may seem like, oh, we're so toxic, but in all honesty, like we're all teddy bears.
Yeah.
And it's just Twitter thing. Oh yeah, with PayPal and Venmo and this is why money will be separated from state.
Yeah, Peter Todd has been taking some of Elon's tweet and actually explaining, what he's saying about on-chain scaling is actually a really bad idea, of course. So some of his tweets are actually good to check out. Actually, very quote tweeted.
Yeah.
No, scroll down. Not this one. He actually did a back of the envelope calculation on his tweet.
I mean, increasing block size is such a easy answer always.
I should have retweeted that. It'll take you a while.
No, we need to scroll through Peter being pissed about Canada and COVID lockdowns. So, but that's the thing also in Bitcoin. That's phenomenal is how Bitcoin keeps us together, even though we have opposing opinions on a bunch of stuff.
Right.
So let's see, 8 billion people. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, he's saying, look at what Elon is saying, that, he's saying on-chain scaling is possible with future computing capability. But for now, Lightning is needed, is what he's saying. But Peter is basically taking that argument and like tearing it apart.
Yeah, but here is the thing on this. Like, people are always like, transactions. It's not about transactions. It's about consensus.
Yeah.
That's the thing. What you use blockchain for. I do actually think that there will be some kind of increase, either through block size or potentially like block time. That you will see it, man. Like, it will be a big battle on that, as it
block
was.
Time,
but
you mean reducing the time between blocks, like making it less than 10 minutes?
I think that one is less likely, but yeah, I was seeing, it's fire tweet, fire opinion, but I'm just seeing there is so much pressure in that direction. The idea that you can like scale on chain is, like Peter says here, it's completely nuts. But the way cards are dealt, this proof of stake, companies that are coming to develop on top of Bitcoin, there will be some pressure. And I'm for, like, when you look at Taproot is phenomenal because you are using space way better and potentially for way more transactions.
Right.
But I really think it will happen in some way. Do you, or you think we'll forever be at size that we are currently?
Okay, so there are two ways to think about it, right? So first conceptual way that I look at is Bitcoin is basically so look at the current financial systems, right? The current financial systems are built in layers, right? It's not like there is a monolithic system currently, right? We have Fed systems like FedWire, which settle, and then we have, networks built on top of it, ultimately leading to a final user-facing network like Visa or PayPal, right? So these financial networks are also built in layers. Then we look at the communication protocols. Communication protocols are also built and scale in layers, right? Now, what is Bitcoin doing? Bitcoin is actually bringing these two type of networks together. It is actually bringing a financial network and a communication network together in one protocol. That's what Bitcoin is. So it has to scale similar to the way these different systems also scale, which will be in layers. So that's one conceptual, framework that I think of when we think about scaling of Bitcoin. Now, second to your question or suggestion that there might be pressure to increase block size, I would say we have to make sure that we agree to that only at a point where we are confident that the technology stack available and the technology infrastructure available, which is the bare minimum commodity infrastructure as well as bare minimum commodity hardware, is to that level where it does not compromise block propagation time. If it does not, it would mean that even if we increase the block size, it's not going to compromise consensus. When that happens, then I'll be agreeable to increasing block size. But until that happens, I would not be. Right? That's my take on it, basically.
Yeah, that's your take in the comments, you see? Because to me, when you're saying until then, when is then? Yeah. If you're put on the spot, and I'm putting you on the spot, like when is then? In 5 years, 10 years, 20 years?
Okay, so We have to look at what is the average, global typical broadband bandwidth, right? When that average broadband bandwidth coverage reaches, let's say, 80% of the population of the world, right? That's one parameter to take into account. Then also look at what is the commodity hardware available and what is its cost. In $100, what type of hardware, or $50, what type of hardware and storage device can we get? Is that storage device good enough to sustain for next 10 years? Right? If I buy, let's say in next 5 years time, I can buy for $50, I can buy a Raspberry Pi and a SSD hard drive, which can sustain Bitcoin blockchain for next 10 years. And the global broadband bandwidth has reached 90% of the population, and that bandwidth is at least 5 Mbps or more. Then I would say we'll be in a position to make that, maybe increase the block size a little bit. That will be my take. So we have to look at our,
because that was a take BIP 103. I remember Sipa publishing this when it was like 2015.
Okay.
Because need to see where is the exact link. No, this is not it. Because it kind of gives the numbers, but this was back in 2015. Because
I haven't read it.
You haven't?
No, I haven't.
Oh man. Well, let's put it in the comments, because this is that's the thing that I'm
I was just talking out of my ass.
no, man. You were talking exactly as no, as you should, like why because we're organizing this talks. So one thing that I'm also forgetting always is when you said you joined 2017, I forget all the stuff, like 2015 that we discussed previously. So I like to bring them up. But let's move on. On why we are here coding.
Sure.
Do you want to share your screen? Take over the stream.
Yep.
Okay.
Share my screen. Share entire screen. Okay. Let's see. Can you?
Boom.
My screen?
Yeah, I can see it. It's mesmerizing.
Okay. All right. So let me describe the problem first, and then we'll start seeing how we can address it. Right. So let's see. Okay. So this particular problem is about the RTL integration with C Lightning, right? So if you look at the integration, if you're running RTL for C Lightning, and when you go and open a channel with any of the peers, the options that we provide for the fee, specifying the fee rate, is just the option of slow, normal, and urgent. These are the options available. So we do not provide an ability for the user to specify a specific fee rate. Like here he's saying, Billy Garrison is saying, I want to specify 50 cent per V-byte. But here I can only say slow, or normal, or urgent, right? So how can we enable that, right? So C Lightning does have support. So how can we enable it? Basically, that's the problem statement. So how do we go about addressing it? So before we actually start addressing it, I'll explain how RTL and is integrated with C Lightning, right? And there is a middle layer or an API layer which enables that. And then we'll start looking at what is the capability that we have in the code, and if we need to make any change to the code or not, right? Okay, so let's start up our test stack. So I'm starting my Bitcoin testnet. So I'm going to create a instance first.
So people can see how development environment looks like for you.
Yep. I have my Visual Studio Code here where I code. And so I'll explain, the code structure a little bit before we actually get into the specifics of inspecting the code. So I'm setting up, letting the Bitcoin testnet run. Once it runs, finishes syncing, then I'll run my Lightning instances. Should sync up pretty quickly. Testnet does not take a lot of time.
Propagating consensus, all about that.
Yeah, okay, so testnet is done. So I'll go and start my C Lightning instance. So I have C Lightning set up. All I have to do is run the daemon. The C Lightning daemon is called Lightning D. So I'm starting that. Allow. This is some setting on my Mac. So I'll also run some LND instances. Let's go to
and everyone watching the stream, don't be too intimidated. Once you can do this once, it's so easy. Just need to get all the binaries running.
Yeah. Allow. Okay. So I just recently changed my firewall settings also on my Mac. So that's why you're getting these privacy settings. Okay.
Man, you have such a nice themes for the terminal.
Yeah, I keep different themes so that I know, where the different daemons are running. So let me unlock LND also.
Then this is exactly what we will be talking about with LN CLI unlock on my end.
So, okay, yep. So LND is syncing. So meanwhile LND is syncing, I'll start another set of terminal sessions for my RTL daemons. So here I am running. I'll go to my directory, C Lightning rest, node CL rest. Okay, allow shell new tab, and I will go to RTL and start RTL. Okay. So basically now what we are doing here is, so RTL is a server here running, right? When I go to the browser and open a session, I will be basically, this particular server will be answering that request, right? So, but RTL server is actually a UI server, right? It needs to also talk to the Lightning implementations. So in case of LND, when we run LND, it actually instantiates some web servers also, which enable an API layer so that a web UI web application can talk to its servers, and they will give back the response, right? That's how we communicate. So API is basically application programming interface. But in case of C Lightning, when we initiated the C Lightning server here, C Lightning does not initiate an HTTP server natively because it does not have that. So when we were initially integrating C Lightning with RTL, we had a problem of how do we get a REST API interface, because RTL cannot directly talk to the socket interface on C Lightning. So for that, we created an intervening layer called C Lightning REST. That layer provided a REST API layer, which enabled RTL and C Lightning to talk to each other. So that then you can actually view all of that API response in the UI, right? So that is the layer that we are going to inspect to see whether we can support the functionality with the person who actually raised is asking for. So okay, so now all of our processes are running. So let me go to not here, go here and log into RTL locally. So I'm running multiple instances here. I'm running an LND instance, and I'm also running a C Lightning instance. So when I log into my LND instance. I can switch to my C Lightning instance here. Right, so now I'm switched to my C Lightning instance. Now this all UI is coming from C Lightning REST, and C Lightning REST is internally talking to C Lightning. So this is how these layers, different layers, are actually working. Let me actually illustrate that as well. Here, if we go to GitHub.
Yeah, and again, it is very simple once you set it up. So I don't want people to be discouraged, because conceptually it's simple. You just have Bitcoin D instance, you have C Lightning, you have HTTP REST wrapper on it, and then RTL.
Perfect, so this is how I'm actually visualizing this, right? So here you can see C Lightning here, and then we have CL REST API server, which is talking to C Lightning, and RTL is talking to C Lightning REST, and then showing all the data in the UI. So this is how basically it is working. In a simple sense, these are the different services or processes running, which enable all this communication, right? So that's important to understand, right? So that's one thing. Now, so let's go back to the problem here. So now what I'm going to inspect is basically C Lightning REST first. So here the ask is, can we specify a fee rate when we are opening the channel? So we are going to investigate whether this API supports that, right? And then we'll also see whether C Lightning also supports that, right? So here in my structure here, in C Lightning REST library, we have controllers, we have routes. Routes are for different API functions which are available. So if I go here, I can see the different API paths which are available, API functions which are available, and then the details of those functions are available here in controller. So the particular function that we are interested in is open channel, right? So we go and investigate open channel, and we see what are the different parameters. So here we are passing fee rate, announce. These are all optional parameters. Minimum confirmation, UTXOs. The UTXO is for coin selection. Minimum confirmation is you can specify, what is the minimum confirmation of the UTXO that you want to be including when you are opening a channel. Announce is for specifying whether the channel should be private or not. And fee rate is for specifying what type of fee rate to use when opening the channel. And of course, the amount, which is in Satoshis, is basically what amount to pass when we are opening the channel. And ID is the pub key of the
and you're never using push sats in order to enrich the counterparty. So there is that parameter is not in there. Yeah,
that parameter is not in there right now. So let's actually investigate and see if C Lightning actually supports it, right? So I'll go here and I'll look at Lightning CLI is the C Lightning command line interface. I'll specify which command I'm actually invoking and then type help. So, what happened?
Maybe dash help.
Actually, it's the other way around. So Lightning CLI help one channel. Yeah, so that brings up the man page. So we have actually push MSAT here. That's the parameter that you were referring to, right? So here, what I'm actually interested in investigating is this fee rate parameter, right? So we'll see in the man page, here is the fee rate, right? So it says that fee rate is an optional fee rate used for opening transaction as an initial fee rate for commitment and STLC transactions. It can be one of the strings, urgent, normal, or slow. Urgent is aim for the next block, normal is next 4 blocks, slow is next 100 blocks. To use Lightning as internal estimates, normal is the default, okay? If I don't specify anything, it will take normal, which will be confirmed in the next 4 blocks. Otherwise, fee rate is a number with an optional suffix. Per kW means the number is interpreted as Satoshi per kilo Sipa, and per KB means it is interpreted as Bitcoin D style or Satoshi per kilobyte. Omitting the suffix is equivalent to per KB. Okay, so if we specify a number, and do not specify the suffix per kW or per kb, it will assume per kb. And if you specify per kW, then it will assume that Satoshi per kilo Sipa. I'm actually not sure what.
I had no idea that Peter got unit, and I had no idea kilo Sipa is an option, man. But I guess I've been looking too much at L&D. They don't have that.
Yeah, they have simple Satoshi per V byte, right? So here, this is what it is, right? So now what I need to do is test this, right? So it looks like all we have to do is specify a string in the fee rate, right? We don't have to add any extra parameter. We are already passing the fee rate. So instead of passing slow, urgent, or normal, we have to specify the specific amount and along with this suffix per kb or per kw, right? So we have to test whether that works, right? So what I'll do is I'll start Postman to see if I can test these APIs with these different parameters. And Postman is actually a tool for testing APIs. So if you are actually working with APIs, you can, instead of directly invoking them in the app, you can test the APIs via Postman and then plan your development around it, basically.
Yeah, especially if curl is not your thing. I like Postman. Plus, you can save those collections and everything else.
Yeah. Postman is quite powerful. I love working with Postman. Okay, so let it load. It takes some time to load. I don't know if it is getting blocked by the firewall. Should not be. Okay, I'll let it load for a while.
I always tell people they need to switch to Windows. It's so much faster.
Okay. What I'll also do is I'll open up mempool to investigate mempool.space on testnet to investigate when we do our testing. So I go to mempool, you can actually switch to testnet.
Let's go Wiz project. I love what they did with mempool space.
Yeah, I just love it. It's very very useful. Right. Okay, so Postman has loaded. Okay. So we will investigate our transaction when we send it via the Postman, right? Now let's look at our testing. So what we need to do is we need to see if I have some peers that I'm connected with that I can open channels with. So I think I have this guy, Geek Tech LMD. So let me look at this peer. Okay, so this is the pub key that I need. So to test, I'll open a channel with this guy, right? So I'll go to Postman and look at my API here. So look, this is my API. So actually, there's one more thing. To get the API, you can also look at the API documentation which is available along with in the C Lightning REST. So you can.
Yeah, you showed it in the terminal, but I love that you also show it in Swagger.
Yep.
It's
presented to me. Oh, hang on.
Does it go on 1 or
4001? Actually, it should be 4001.
Yeah.
4001. Let's see if it works. Try again. No. Okay, it's not HTTPS. HTTP. Okay. Yeah.
There we go.
Okay, so this is basically, so when I initiate C Lightning REST, it actually initiates two different servers. One server is for the RTL to consume the APIs with, which we are also going to query with our Postman tool. And second server is just for serving the documentation. And this documentation actually helps you investigate different parameters, different paths that you need to specify for each API. So you can actually see, first of all, what is the complete suite. You have a channel management section, general information section, invoicing, network information, on-chain fund management, payments, peer management, and general RPC calls also. So we have all these APIs in the suite. This is a complete API suite for C Lightning, and then each API can be investigated. So if I want to look at open channel, what is the path? What are the different parameters? Where are those parameters need to be passed? Body, route, etc. Right. So all that specification is available as part of the tool itself. So that's one thing. So now when I have to test open channel, I know that my path is channel/open channel. Okay. So I'll go to Postman. I'll specify the path here, and I
That
also
is
have to
good.
I have to also specify a macro. So this macro is actually generated by C Lightning REST. So I have to take the copy and hex get the hex value and specify it here, right? As and pass it as macro in the header, and in the body I'll specify the actual arguments of the APIs. So here, let's see.
So you are using Sipa units. I'm
for
glad
now,
to hear that.
Yeah. Let me see. Okay, so we go here. Let's see, geek tech, view info. This is the pub key. Okay, I'll copy the pub key, specify it here. Yeah, okay. I am using 100,000 satoshis. I have a lot of testnet satoshis, so I'm generous. And
Rich.
fee rate, yeah, I'm rich in testnet.
Yeah, rich.
Okay, so let me specify some weird value here. 1, 2, 3. Okay, 5, 1, 2, 3 per kW.
Yeah.
Right, that's the fee rate. So these are the parameters. And let's see and test send it. If I send it, let's see what happens. Okay,
nice.
So the transaction was successful, and this is the transaction ID which is generated for the channel open transaction. So I copy this transaction ID, and we will put it in the mempool to see and to investigate the transaction. So I put it in the mempool here. Okay, so you can see here the fee rate still says 1 sat per byte. So I'm actually not sure why it is still, although I'm specifying a ridiculously large amount here, an obscenely large amount, right? But it is still saying 1 sat per byte. I don't know why that's happening. So what I'll do is, let me take this peer and try to test the same thing with LND and see what happens.
Yeah, and one thing that I always emphasize on this stream is the reason why we're doing this live is to fail, so that people who want to get into development, they're not intimidated by all those perfect YouTube tutorials, like, okay, I know exactly what it is. But rather when you're live coding, coding is mostly a skill of, finding solution to problems. So as you're saying, let's test with another implementation.
It's all trial and error, right? I don't have a solution for this. I've been facing this problem, but I don't know how to solve it. So I'm just trying to figure things out. Right, so let me do this. Let me copy pub key here. Go to my LND testnet. Let me let it load. Okay, ignore that. Go to graph lookup. Do lookup and copy the node URI. And I'll go to go to lightning section, peer channels, and go to peers. Add this peer first. Add peer. Okay. Now if I open some channel with this peer, priority fee, and here I want to specify, let's say 125 sats per byte. Okay, and open channel. Okay, so this channel is opened.
Let's see what happened.
Yeah, let's investigate the mempool pending open. View info. Channel point is the transaction ID in this case.
And so you can see that semicolon 1 is what is the UTXO of channel, right?
This
at
is
the end.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay, so let's go to mempool and investigate this transaction. Hang on. This is not copied. Come on. Okay. Control C. Control V. Okay, so here you can see actually whatever fee rate I specified actually came through, right? So I'm not sure whether per kW is the issue or
I would give it a try in Postman, but with regular units and not Sipa unit. If we can read it from terminal.
Okay, let's see. You mean specify per kb?
Yes.
Okay, let's do that then.
Let's give it a try.
Okay, so let's go to here and go back to C Lightning.
We go to Postman and we give it a try.
Yeah, I'm going to find another peer to open the channel with.
We can use same peer. I mean,
no, C Lightning has a problem. It will not accept. It will not allow you to open multiple channels with the same peer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, I love this knowledge nuggets that you can't easily obtain.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's been one of the issues for C Lightning.
Oh, I didn't know that one. So nice. I love when I'm organizing Uncle Coding every Sunday so I can show off knowledge, but I pick up knowledge as well. So I love when that happens.
Right. Okay, so now I'm copying. I copied this one and this one, and let me do per KB.
KB. And does there need to be a space between the amount and?
So let's investigate this, right? Whether we are doing it right or not. So let's see.
Go.
Go to C Lightning's C Lightning GitHub. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll go to issues and specify per KW here to search if there are any issues like that. Okay, so let's see. Feature request. Let's see here. So look at this issue.
It's no space. Nice.
Yeah, so this is what there is actually a big contributor on C Lightning. You're saying Lightning CLI fund channel ID amount 253 per KW. So we are specifying it in the right manner, right? So this should not be the issue, but for some reason it is not accepting, right? So let me try that again in a different unit. If this does not work, I'll try with not through the API, but directly with the CLI and see if that works, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's try P per KW and see what happens.
Let's go.
Okay, let's do send.
Man, I love pair programming.
Yeah. Okay, so it is taking some time. Let's see what's happening in the code, the log. So this is C Lightning's log.
Yeah, that's a good one. What did it receive as a request? That's a good question. You can click hide on that one. We don't need that.
What happened? What did it get? Okay. Yeah. So it is saying send raw transaction estimate fee rate. Let me see if it returned back. We're still sending. I don't know what happened here. Cannot track.
Man.
Okay, Lightning will. Yeah, this one.
Yeah, private. Audience today is supporting you so much. I see in comments, Eski's also saying, 100% you can't open multiple channels with C Lightning.
Right.
And he's really enjoying Eski your showing off RTL and C Lightning.
Eski is not happy with my C Lightning REST library though.
No, he is happy. Like with Eski, I can't wait for Eski to follow up on his promise with BTCPay Server Music Festival. You got to be there, my man.
Sure. So it says that Lightning will open private channel with this node. So it is doing something. I'm just waiting. Actually, I observed that sometimes it takes a while to respond, but it will respond.
Does it maybe have a problem as well of opening two channels in one block? Maybe that could be it.
Yeah. May actually be the case. Let's see. Let's look at the mempool. Is it waiting for this block to finish? Should not be the case, right? Logically, it does not make sense. In case of channel closure, I agree that if you are waiting for if you want the channel closure to be included in the next block, then you wait for that block. But for channel opening, it should not be the case. You can just put the transaction in the mempool and it can wait to be confirmed.
Yeah, well, you want me to take a look at a loop while we're waiting on that transaction to finish?
Sure. Yep,
okay, I'll take over the streaming screen, and if you look at my screen now, Oh, it seems we're working. Let's see, 0D17. Did loop start? That's all I want to know. Yes, it did. Nice. Nice. So if I now go to this BTCPay server instance, let me just show you what I am working on there. So server settings, it's this. And for all you that don't know, but everyone that's watching this stream knows where the loop is in BTCPay server because I've been showing it so much during the streams. I love that. So because loop is running, it should, yes. There it is. So now, yeah, it's all good. And Docker PS, Docker logs, RTL BC7. Boom. Yeah, there are the quotes. So here is my problem. When it comes to this entry point, I've modified it. Because previously in BTCPay server back in 2019, we had the no seed backup. And the LND nodes that got deployed, they had no seed backup and we couldn't migrate them automatically. Rather, if you deployed LND node with this, you needed to make use of a tool that we developed that pretty much drops your Docker volume, starts a new one, but you need to manually close all the channels, transfer the funds, and so on and so forth. But that shouldn't stop you from using loop that we added, like that binary that we added in this in these new releases. So what I am doing is I'm trying to run this for people that still haven't migrated. And the way that I do it is I have this server and my idea is to do this. I'm going to deploy really old LND instance that still has no seed backup one. Then I'm going to update it to this latest version. And by doing that, I'm going to simulate this case and see if loop is working. So should I do that or the transaction on your end finished?
The transaction finished.
Let's switch to that then. Now
I think actually it waited for the block to confirm. As soon as the block confirmed, the transaction finished.
I told you it's that. So yeah, you can share your screen because it's not shared now.
Let's see. Share.
I told you it's a block.
Yeah. Can you see?
Yeah. Okay. Let's see if kilobytes work.
Let's see. Let's put that transaction in and search.
No, they don't.
Oh, man. Okay. That's channel ID. Yeah.
It's maybe something with that HTTP.
So that's the next thing that for us to try the whole thing in a command line to see if it's the API is the issue or if it is a C Lightning specific thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly there.
So what I'll do is instead of this, I'll do Lightning CLI one channel. Go back to what Darius here was suggesting. Lightning CLI one channel ID amount and this. Okay. So let me pick another ID. Close this. Go to.
And ASCII is commenting that you were lucky 2 testnet blocks came in, right? Like one after each other. And Tommy is saying, yeah, RTL is awesome. You can contribute, Tommy. It's all up to you. Like he's saying he hope he can contribute. Like, no, jump right in.
Yeah. Right. So let me find a peer that I don't have a channel open with. Okay, let's see if I can open up with this peer. Bone-size software testnet.
I love that alias.
Okay, fund channel ID, then amount.
And we will use Sipa units.
Yeah, let's see. 253 per kW. Let's see if this works. Let's go. Channel. Oh, okay. I have channel open with this peer. Okay, so I have to find a new peer then. Go to unml.com/testnet. That's what I do to find peers. Sample coin LND testnet. Let's see if this guy has. Okay, so let's copy this. Go to our RTL. Add peer. Add peer. Add. Okay, perfect. Now let me just refresh. And I can get it from here also. Just get the pub key. Go back to command line and then type lightning CLI fund channel ID amount and 253 per kW. Let's see what happens. Okay.
Boom.
Let's investigate the transaction ID. Go to mempool, investigation transaction not found.
Oh, we're still waiting.
Okay, got it. Okay, no, still says fee rate 1 sat per byte.
No way. So we found the bug.
Yeah, I don't know what's the issue. Looks like we have to raise an issue with C Lightning. There's nothing else that I can test.
Yeah, because you opened it with command line and you specified maybe they have something in C Lightning to fix the fee rate to 1, VSAT per byte.
Yeah, it looks like it is not even looking at this.
Yeah, parameter.
This fee rate is actually default. If you do not specify, I think this is what it will come. I'm not sure actually. The default they say is normal, so I can actually try without it. Or maybe I don't know whether they're looking at testnet and doing it. I'm not sure whether on mainnet it will work. But unfortunately, I don't have a mainnet node for C Lightning, so I cannot test it on mainnet.
Well, here is what we will do. We're gonna follow up on this mystery after the stream, and I'm gonna add it in the stream notes so people can see how we do stuff in Bitcoin ecosystem. We uncover the problem and we solve it, cooperating with each other.
Yeah. Great.
Because this is crazy, man. You can't even develop the feature that we wanted to look into.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it'll be good to know if somebody in the audience already has a C Lightning node running on mainnet, and if they can run these type of tests and specify a fee rate on the command line. And if they find that the fee rate is actually reflecting in that mempool as what is specified here on the mainnet, then that's something that the fix is available. We'll have to just update in RTL and give the feature to the user. But if it is not going through, then C Lightning would have to address it basically.
And there is another thing, like when you open an issue in C Lightning repository, you can just link to this part of the stream. So it won't be like, oh, it can't reproduce on my machine.
Right. Sure.
You're like, here
and
it
this
is.
particular issue here, if you look at it, this is what exactly this guy is saying. Mr. Gibbs. I get livid when I see 20x the Satoshis going out of window, then required to set up cheap payments for later. Why not use the argument directly like this? See the fee rate changes quickly. I'm not sure about static configuration option.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not happy with the solution though. Why don't you type all arguments to avoid defaults? Isn't very persuasive.
You just love when developers go after each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I actually then wouldn't bother you to finish implementing this. What I'll do, in stream notes, I'm going to link resolving of this issue, because again, what people need to realize, I'm programming things most often don't go the way you've planned.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, the problem still persists.
Especially because there is also that paradox of it works on my machine, and then when you try to demo it, always something breaks.
Exactly. Yeah, I love those paradoxes. Those are called the demo effect.
Yeah. But before we finish, I'm not sure I'll have enough time on my end also. We're already over the allotted time. So maybe it's better because we have you on the stream to go over two things. Number one, you will talk with Shahana, you will show the stream, and we really want her on the stream. So I will follow up. And number two, recommendation. Like people that are new to programming, they're starting to like it. Like, what are your favorite resources when it comes to, improving yourself as a programmer? Do you have recommendations for resources such as those? Or
so I would, let me touch upon the journey that I took. Although I have some programming experience when I started out initially in my career, I've had a 20-year-long running career so far overall in IT solutions development. But I was not programming for all of this 20 years. I was programming initially for 5-6 years, and then I moved on to project management, product management side of the things. Then I picked up programming again once I got into Bitcoin space. Right, I was so eager to contribute that I overcame all of my hesitance, and the feeling that I cannot do programming after such a long time, right? Kids are too smart these days, right? So there was a lot of hesitation, to actually drop all that and then start getting into the weeds again. I took some Udemy courses, and I got a lot of help also, from the community, from Shahana as well. She's actually a good JavaScript developer. And when we were searching for a good programming language for this C Lightning REST API suite, we kind of zeroed down on Node.js because we thought that it gels well with the overall ecosystem of RTL. So we came up with Node.js, but I would say that maybe it's not the perfect solution, right? Or the way we have coded is not perfect. So we would love people to pay attention to it and look at the code and see how we can improve it. That's one thing. Second thing, as far as a learning journey is concerned, I would recommend pick up 1 or 2 Udemy courses so that you understand the basics of that programming language, whatever programming language you would want to choose. But my number one advice to anybody trying to take up coding or programming is to have a particular application goal in mind. And that application or goal can be a very simple thing. It need not be a complicated thing. But there should be something which you feel comfortable with and have a strong desire to come up with a software solution to address, right? So in my case, I was looking at a problem. The problem that I was looking at, that I need to bridge the gap between C Lightning and RTL. So can I create an API layer which works? That's when I took as a problem statement, and then I learned Node.js and created the solution. So same thing I would apply for you. I would suggest for anybody that you define a problem for yourself, whatever you think you are very enthusiastic or passionate to solve. That problem becomes and through a software solution. So that becomes your goal. That this is my goal that I have to address with programming, and then you learn the tool, which can be any programming language. It can be Python, it can be Node, it can be JavaScript, it can be anything, right? It can be C. But use that programming language as a tool to solve that goal or a problem that you are trying to get to. That will give you a perfect platform as well as a tool to get to the goal. And then when you go to that journey, you pick up things, you learn on the way, and then you become a good programmer. And then overall, as you spend more and more time, you become a proficient programmer. That is the advice I would like to give.
Yeah, it's not so much about the concrete resource as it's more about the process Like
Exactly.
you finding a way to scratch your own itch.
Yep.
And then also, like I always talk about how non-obvious that help within the Bitcoin community is, and how people are pushing each other to be better. So
Right.
that's where I think also, like, if you can find an itch to scratch, you find out it's not only like you're developing something that addresses your problem, but it addresses the problems of other people.
Mm-hmm.
That's so much more important than concrete resource like Udemy or other websites, YouTube tutorials. These then become tools.
Yeah,
So
that's perfect.
yeah.
That's also what I wanted to say. Programming or development is actually a tool, right? Your goal is the specific problem that you want to solve, right? The scratch your itch, right? What is the itch basically which you want to scratch? And then the tool becomes the tool. Programming development is the tool to actually scratch that.
Yeah. And then eventually you end up with all of this
Right.
that's used by so many people. I mean, it's just, man, to me that's what it's all about. I know when I was spending my career developing some kind of closed source solution, then it's one client and it's not as interesting. But when you have open source tool that's used by so many people, completely different,
Right.
and way
And
more.
I am, by any stretch of imagination, I'm not an accomplished JavaScript programmer. I'm a very simple noob, right? Who is actually trying to just stumble his way through learning all this programming. But what I would, and I can tell you, the people that I work with are accomplished JavaScript. In my day job, the people that I work with are accomplished programmers. And if they look at this code, they will give me so many inputs, and there are so many areas that I'm sure they can suggest improving. But it's just a matter of interest, right? Anybody who can come along and do better things, but do you have interest enough to do those things basically? So yeah, we are just learning and kind of stumbling our way through.
Yeah. Well, my man, it was pleasure stumbling through my way with you this Sunday. I see people in comments are asking us to extend this stream, but we need to preserve our man Zach's. He doesn't want to create timestamps for 2 hours.
Sure, I agree with that. But I'm sorry that I took most of the time.
No, man.
I wanted to look at the problem actually.
Please, sorry that my stream is not longer, because I think I'm actually just warming up. Once this stream is done, I'm going to jump here and now test what I said I will test. And
Sure.
To me, it's all about that. I hope also viewers are energized by what we were doing. And we just keep stumbling along, creating, reforming the financial system for the world in the meantime. There is that, one of my favorite memes. Let's go. This one, where it is.
Yeah.
Because we will also, shitpost on Twitter a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I love it.
So let's close with that. Suheb, thanks again for coming on, my man, and showing us how sausage is made for RTL.
Great. Thanks a lot for having me on.
No, and are you in for parties in Miami?
Yeah, I am in.
Yeah,
I definitely am in. Yeah.
Because maybe that's the last thing we should plug here. And I'm going to invite you right now. You're going to be our special guest. Let me show that off a little bit.
Okay.
Let me show that off a little bit here. BTCPay server Mattermost. There is, well, it's not top secret channel, but there is a channel conferences. You jump in here, and we're organizing party for Miami.
Okay, perfect.
So we're doing that as soon as credits roll. But again, it was pleasure having you on, man, and keep shining, keep pushing, and talk soon.
Sure. Thanks a lot. You too.